Welcome back to the Elise Surkoff podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how to stay on track over the holidays. And this comes up every single year, but in all honesty, it also comes up very regularly in our FFWE community because there is always something to celebrate in life. But I know timely, it's this time of year. We have American Thanksgiving and we've got the holidays fast approaching with Christmas and Hanukkah and all the great stuff. And I think that this episode is going to really help you if you're someone who has excellent intention going into the holidays with, I'm not going to do blank and I'm only going to do blank. And then you end up just mismatching it. And it's a fuck show really at the end of the day. So if this is you, keep listening. And I hope that this helps you, especially this time of year. So let's get started. First and foremost, I want to define what is the track? What does the track look like? Because we talk about this all the time. I'm, staying on track or I went off track. And I think we have an unrealistic idea and expectation of what that track looks like. So let's just dive into that for a second. We really want something that is just not going to happen, which is I want my success to be linear. I want to always lose weight. I want to always see the scale move down. I want to go to the gym and always hit, PBs. I want to always have good night's sleeps. That's not how it happens. And we know this, yet we still expect it. So the way I like to look at the track is that no matter what, you're never off it. Let's just start right there. Let's crack into that limiting belief of you are on a track. You're a choo-choo train, you're a car, you're a motorcycle, and you are just never off track. However, the track is not going straight. It is not linear. It can zigzag. It can stop. It can take a break. It can fill up for gas and it can drive, right? So if we look at a full year, which is really how I like anyone to look at creating any new goal or any new skill. So for example, let's just stop talking about weight loss and diet and nutrition for a second. If you started to play the guitar and you've never played before, you wouldn't pick it up and expect to be amazing at it, right? If you're like, oh shit, why can't I play like, I don't know, Led Zeppelin, and by next weekend? Like we would never think that. But if someone started playing a song and they played it so well and you said, how long have you been playing guitar for? And they're like, I've been playing for about a year and I practice all the time. You're like, wow, I can tell that's great. But yet, when it comes to weight loss and staying on track, we just have this idea that it's got to be really quick. And the second you fuck up, you went off track and it's over. So, when it comes to staying on track on the holidays, let's start by saying the track can zigzag. And this will likely be the time of year that you're going to have to zigzag. And that's, going to be okay. So, first and foremost, the track is going to zigzag. Cool. We know that. Now what? All right. One of the things I like to really get into is either two things: situational eating and then if then planning. So let's talk about situational eating. Situational eating is when you always expect to have a certain food that you're going to eat during a certain time of year, holiday, vacation. It's like, it's my birthday. I have to have cake. It is the holidays. I have to have stuffing, mashed potatoes, Aunt Susie's eggnog, cheesecake, pumpkin pie, whatever it is. Or I'm going to the movies, I have to have popcorn because that's what we do. That is situational eating. And so the first thing I want you to do when you are heading into the holidays is think to yourself, what do I want and what is just expected of me to want because it's situational. Maybe you don't like eggnog. Maybe you love mashed potatoes, but you have them regularly throughout the year. So you're like, I don't really need mashed potatoes. I don't have to have mashed potatoes and stuffing and pumpkin pie just because it's Thanksgiving, just because it's Christmas. I don't have to eat this on that day just because I've always done it. I don't have to go to the movies and eat popcorn. I could watch the movie without eating popcorn. That is the very first thing. And I will tell you, this is hard as fuck because it is changing your mindset. And there is nothing harder than changing your mindset when you have one that's been established so long as we have in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. So let's just start right there. Okay. Is what I want to have a situational eating situation, situational experience, or is it that I really truly want to have it because I love eggnog and this is the one time of year that I go have it? Or hey, this is the one time of year that I don't care. I don't count my macros. I just kind of eat off script and I enjoy it. So let's start with that and then go into if then planning. So if then planning is something that we use for mindset when it comes to planning ahead. So it is if I end up overeating, then I'm going to blank. Or if I end up sitting beside Aunt Karen, then I'm going to tell her that I don't want seconds. Okay. Now, why is this so important to do ahead of time? Because this is how the brain works. Once the brain hears it, it believes it to be true. We can use this like same experience with situational eating. I have to go eat popcorn at the movies because my brain told me that if I go to the movies, then I eat popcorn. But we can also flip it saying, hey, if I go to the movies and I want popcorn, then I'm going to get a small bag. Or if I'm going to go to the movies, then I'm not going to have popcorn and see how I feel. Okay. So we can do the same thing. But the point is that when the brain hears it the first time, then it recognizes it. So it believes it to be true. So if I were to say, if I get really hungry, then I'm going to start with the turkey. Okay. So when you get really hungry at Thanksgiving dinner, then you're going to start with the turkey because your brain is going to say, oh, here's what's happened. I've already said it out loud. And yes, I want you to say it out loud. Or if I have one drink, then I'm going to have one glass of water. So that when you have a drink, then you know, oh, my brain is saying, hey, what's the second part of this? Then I have that glass of water. And it slows everything down for me instead of having two drinks at once. Okay. So let's recap so far where we are when it comes to staying on track on the holidays. Make sure, number one, you understand that that track is not linear. It's not straight. It is zigzagging and you are going to zigzag. So then let's flip into, is this a moment of situational eating? And what can I plan for if then planning? And the reason why I want you to really take some time and think about situational eating is because I've seen this in our practice with our program with our clients. And we've serviced probably 5 to 600, 700 clients so far to date. And I hear this time and time again. At least I didn't even want the cheesecake. I don't even like stuffing, but I felt so bad. But everybody else was having it. But I always eat it. But I felt bad not clearing my plate. And we are here to live unapologetically, are we not? So why are we eating shit we don't want to eat to please others or to please a previous version of ourselves? Just because I always used to drink doesn't mean I want to be the person who's always drinking. Just because Aunt Karen made this delicious cheesecake and it's non-dairy so I can eat it doesn't mean I have to eat it. Okay. Um, so really start to think about before you even get into the holidays, what do you want? Like, what is it that you enjoy? Because if you're some of our clients, if you feel like some of our clients feel where you're like, I didn't want the cheesecake, go into it saying, I actually don't like cheesecake. I don't want to eat that. I'd rather have the pumpkin pie or I'd rather have the extra stuffing. That is going to be a great place to start. Okay. The next thing I want you to remember. So we've got situational eating. What do you believe to be true? The if then planning. And then the next thing I want you to come in with was what we call the power lead. Okay. We use this a lot in our community, especially when we're looking at taking alcohol consumption down. And it's the first time that you're with friends where you're not drinking. So let's use this example for a second and then I'll bring it back to the holidays. So you've made the commitment that you don't really like drinking anymore. You're going to cut it down. You don't like the way it makes you feel. But when you go out with ex friends, they assume you're going to drink. So now you're going to drink and you're not drinking and it's the topic of conversation. Why isn't Elise drinking? Hey, how come you're not drinking? Is everything okay? Can I still have it? And you're just like, oh gosh, I just feel like I'm constantly talking about why I'm not drinking. And so, what we recommend instead is going in with what we call the power lead. So, you know, this topic is going to come up because you have changed your behavior. We can't expect everyone else around you to like not care, even though you are thriving and living unapologetically now. But the point is that we're shining a mirror on others, right? So, of course, our change in behavior is going to likely make others uncomfortable and question their own choices. So, by taking the power lead, we walk into the bar to meet our friends and we say, hey, how's it going? And you're like, I'm so good. Listen, I'm not drinking tonight. Decided to take a break from it. But tell me, how's work going as you order a soda, right? So you've taken the power lead. You've kind of already said, hey, I'm not doing this. And here's why. And now we're moving on from that conversation. Now let's take it into Thanksgiving. Maybe you're someone who is like, I actually don't like dessert. So I will say I'm not a huge dessert person. I would rather eat the French fries, the stuffing. Like I'd rather have that than have the cakes and stuff like that. So if someone is going to come in and, you know, maybe say, oh, here's all these desserts, I might say, yeah, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to like go hard on dinner and I'll take that to go. Like that's cool. Or I go in and say, hey, Aunt Karen, listen, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me. I have, you know, made a real commitment to invest in my health and make some changes. So you might see me not finish my plate tonight, but I'll take it home and I'm going to enjoy every single bite. And you go in with the power lead and now like no one else can really argue with that. What are people going to say? Oh, shit, Elise, I'm really sorry to hear that you care about your health and you're invested in being a better version of yourself. Gosh, that sucks. Likely they're going to say, oh, okay, that sounds cool. Like tell me more about that. And you could choose to discuss it or you can choose to not. But by taking the power lead, you're not waiting for someone to kind of egg you on a little bit and say, oh, come on, Elise, just have that extra piece of cake. You can afford it. You look great. Or why not just have a drink? It's the holidays. You know, when you come in and say, I'm good, I'm not drinking today. Okay. So taking the power lead is going to be super helpful. Now, let's just say that you've done all these things and you still ate like an asshole. Okay. You're just like, fuck, I did it again. You know, I had one drink and that was my limit, but it just hit me hard. It was a soft pour and now I had another and I fucked up or whatever it is. I want you to understand that at the end of the day, like I started this podcast, the track can zigzag and that is okay. You can't fuck this up unless you quit. So if I were to zoom out and say, all right, hey, Karen, in a span of a year, do you think you're going to be perfect with your diet and nutrition? Karen's probably going to say no. And I'll be like, cool. So this is going to be one of those opportunities for you to practice not being perfect or practice, for lack of a better word, maybe fucking up a little bit in your own terminology and know that you can't get off the track. What are you going to do next? And I think this is a really hard thing for people because when you feel like you fucked up, you what the hell it. Well, what the hell? I've already overeaten, so I might as well just keep going tonight, right? What the hell? I've already ruined the day. I've already started eating at 4:30 and I can't stop. It's 8 o'clock. I might as well just have another cocktail or like, what the hell? I'll just keep going and I'll start again in January. And this is the same analogy we all like to use, which is like, if you have a flat tire, are you going to just slash all other tires because one is flat? Oh, fuck. You know what? Got a nail in this tire. Might as well throw another nail in each of my other tires. Might as well just fuck them all up and just replace them all. You wouldn't do that. If you spilt a little bit of coffee, I say this because when am I not drinking a cup of coffee as I hold a cold cup of coffee right here? But let's just say you drink a cup of coffee and you spill a little bit on your shirt. And if you know me, then every time I wear white, I will notoriously spill something on my shirt. But you don't just spill a little bit on your shirt and then say, well, what the hell? I'm going to spill the whole fucking cup on my shirt, the whole cup on my shirt. You don't say that. You're like, try to take the stain out, try to like hide it with something, and then you move on with your life. So at the end of the day, you can't fuck this up unless you slash all tires and you quit and you say, I'll just start Jan 1. All right. So this is where I would really encourage you, and I encourage our clients to go into the holidays with a little bit more leniency, starting with knowing the track is going to zigzag. So of course, we all want to lose weight, even though the holidays are coming, but that just might not be realistic. Whereas maybe in past times, you've left the table completely stuffed, uncomfortable, and you feel like ass. And this year, you're like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to lose weight, but I'm not going to stuff myself. I'm going to get better at it. And remember, if this is your first holiday or first opportunity where you are practicing changing behaviors in which you've always done in the past, you're not going to be really good at it. You've got to pay the beginner tax. You've got to suck at it. So, if I said to you, okay, for the next 6 weeks, every Friday or every Thursday is going to be like Thanksgiving, you're going to practice it. By that sixth Thursday or that sixth consecutive Thanksgiving, you're going to be a lot stronger at it. You're going to know the track isn't linear. You will have planned situational eating. You will have planned if then planning. You will have taken the power lead multiple times. You would nail it. But with holidays being once a year, you probably haven't had a lot of practice on it. And maybe you've just started your journey. Maybe you're about to start it. Maybe you're knee deep in it. And this is the first time that you're going back home. And when you're back home, the situation is completely changed. You're out of your environment. You feel like a kid again. You're excited by the nostalgia of it all, the smells in the house. And it's going to be hard for you because you haven't practiced it yet. So understand that even if you take one behavior, one mindset, and practice getting stronger at that the next time you go into it, you're going to get better and better to the point where you're going to be like, you know what? I don't even want cheesecake and stuffing. I'm good. I love the mashed potatoes and the turkey. That's my jam. Or I love the cranberry sauce. That's going to do it for me. Or you might say, this is the one time of year that I drink and I enjoy it and then I move on with my life. So the worst thing I think that you can do is set yourself up for the expectation that you're going to be perfect and that it's going to be linear. And also setting yourself up with the expectation that you're going to feel the same in the moment that you do in the moments leading up to it. So you're going to say, nope, this year I am not going to do A, B, and C. And then you get into it and you're like, oh my God, I did A, B, and C. I can't believe I did that. I suck. I fail. Everything's gone to hell. We just have to stop that spiraling right now and going in and saying it's one meal. And yeah, I might overeat like an asshole. However, I'm not going to slash the rest of my tires. I'm just going to keep going. And what is that going to look like? Because if it was anything like how I used to think, I would think if I overeat, then I'm going to double up on exercise for the next 14 days. And that isn't healthy behavior either. So my best advice to you is if I overeat, then I'm going to move on. I'm not going to quote unquote make up for it by eating less the next day or exercising more. I'm just going to keep fucking going. Because remember, the goal here is to not quit. And most people quit the second they feel that they are off track. But guess what? You are here because you are not like most people. You are unapologetic and you are thriving. So I leave this with you today and I wish you a happy holiday whenever you are listening to this. This could potentially be the same for a vacation, a special event in your life, something that really is meaningful for you. And at the end of the day, it's going to be okay as long as you understand that this is part of life. And every time you have an opportunity to practice getting better, but avoid that level of perfection. And I guarantee you a more successful holiday. I hope that this was helpful for you. And I'd love to know how this landed for you. And if you took any of these tools with you. So you can find me on social at Functionally Fit with Elise at Facebook and on Instagram. and my website, functionallywithelise.com. I've got a lot of freebies on there. I even have a masterclass on how to holiday that is for sale right now. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go ahead and grab that. And as a reminder, the information provided on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare professionals with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or health related goals.